Hey Wealth Builders!
Welcome back to another episode of The Bemused. My name is Mishak.
And I'm Akiva.
And on this channel we talk about all things personal finance for young adults just like you and us.
And so if you're into that kind of stuff, go on ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell so you never miss when we post new, valuable, fun content just like this video right here.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about our honeymoon, how much it cost, and how much we actually paid out of pocket. So let's get right on into it. So we went on a 13-day, 12-night trip to Dubai as well as to the Maldives. And we're going to break everything down as much as we can, day by day, with the amount that we spent and all that good stuff, so that you guys don't think that we're lying about what we did. We're actually going to break everything down for you. To be quite honest, it's pretty challenging for us to tell you what the value of the flight is, because we actually booked our flights using points as well as cash. It was very little cash. But the credit card company that we used to book our travel was stating that the cost or the value of the points was over $3,000 some odd dollars for the flight. But then when we were in communication with the airline directly, they were saying that it was about $1,500. So we're not exactly sure about that, but we can just tell you what we paid. So what our out-of-pocket cost for our flights was $441 or so, give or take a few cents, and that was our airline cost or round-trip cost for flights.
Then the next biggest expense typically is finding somewhere to stay. And so we won't get into the detail of how we did what we did. We ended up changing our itinerary almost completely within like a 24-hour notice, but we ended up staying at a hotel or at hotels for the duration of our stay. So I can't even say 12 nights because there's some travel on each end, but for the majority, at least 10 nights of the trip, I would say, were spent in hotels. So those were paid for 100% using points that we have with one of the loyalty programs with a major name brand hotel chain.
Okay, so just to make sure that you're keeping up with us, we have $441 for our flight costs that we paid out of pocket and $0 for our hotel costs. So we have travel and lodging completely covered. So let's move into what we spent day by day. So we left on December 3rd, which was a Thursday, and we left in the evening. And let's actually see how much money we spent on that day. So December 3rd, which I pretty much thought, we spent absolutely nothing. We took an Uber to the airport, and what happened wasn't a good experience. Long story short, we got our money back. So that's why there's no cost there, because we did not eat or buy anything in the airport. Everything that we got that day came with our deal. So we got stuff on the plane and so on and so forth. Then on the 4th, I'll let you talk about that one.
Yep, so we flew overnight. So on the 4th is when we landed in Dubai, and we went straight from the airport to our hotel. So that Uber cost, we basically took Uber everywhere we went, by the way, on this trip in Dubai. That costed us $18.46.
And that was our entire spend for that day.
So December 5th was our first full day in Dubai. So we did a lot of things that day. For breakfast, we ate at our hotel, and that ended up not costing us anything, even though you technically do have to pay for breakfast at the hotel. The first day wasn't included for some reason in our bill. Then we headed out. So we went and visited the Burj Khalifa, we went to the aquarium at Dubai Mall, and we visited the Dubai Frame. And so the entry cost for all of those 3 activities added up to $253.75. So we had $11.85 for one Uber, $9.74 for another Uber, and then the Uber back to the hotel, $11.56. Lots of Ubers on this trip, y'all. Then we even got a little souvenir. We got a postcard that we sent someone for $1.36. We bought ourselves a little photo, and this is an expensive photo from the aquarium, but it's mad cute. It is $43.56. Then we got some Krispy Kreme, because I don't know why we don't have a Krispy Kreme where we live, but there was one in the mall in Dubai, so that was $2.89. And we went to dinner in the mall at a place called Al Halab, which was delicious, and that was $40.84. So that was all on day 1, y'all. And that's when we realized, after we got home to the hotel and added up our costs, that we needed to chill down.
Yeah.
We needed to simmer down, friends. So after this, we were very much more budget conscious and just more aware of what we were spending.
So now on to December 6th. So our second full day in Dubai was just as jam-packed as the first. So that day we decided to go to the Arabian Tea House for breakfast/brunch. So as Akiva mentioned, we took Ubers everywhere. So we took an Uber from the hotel to the Arabian Tea House, and the cost of that Uber was $8.97. We shared a pretty big spread of food at the Arabian Tea House that was meant to serve, I think they said 4 or something like that. We also had these amazing smoothies, mentioning that because they were just so good.
So good.
And the cost of breakfast was $47.32. Then we jetted back to our hotel, and the Uber cost for the ride back to the hotel was $12.34. And then we chilled out for a little bit because our excursion was starting in the evening. And we booked an excursion that included round-trip transportation from our hotel and back, as well as transportation to 3 different locations. 2 of them distinctly was Miracle Garden, because Miracle Garden, we had a smoothie while we were there, and the cost of those smoothies for the both of us was $16.34. And yes, that is very expensive, but if you ever go to Dubai, you will know that fruit and juices just cost ridiculous amounts of money.
Very big on fresh juice.
And then, while we were at our last destination, our Global Village, we ate a little snack. We weren't too hungry. It was like dinnerish time, and we had Bosnian food. So that was $13.61. And then last, while we were at Global Village, we were a little peckish, so we decided to get some churros that were made fresh right in front of us, and that was $6.81. So that was our total cost, or total spend for that day. So that brings our total for December 6th to $195.39.
Then the next day, December 7th. So our itinerary, it sounds like a little bit, but it was just a really long activity that we did that day. One of the, I think, the most memorable days on our trip. So we had breakfast at our hotel. That was $24.52. And then what we spent the rest of the day doing was out and about on a desert safari excursion. So we got in our little 4x4 that picked us up at our hotel, our Jeep, went out to the desert, started riding around on some sand dunes, having a good old time, and went to a camp where dinner was included. And so we had our dinner and a show and all that stuff. So the desert safari, all that whole experience was $65.35. We also rode some camels. We're gonna definitely include some footage from that because that was really great. So we ended up paying $38.12 for some head wraps that we definitely probably could have found in the streets of New York City for about $5. So it's all right. We paid it. We're okay with it now, kind of.
Yeah. So our total spendings for December 7th was $127.99. So December 8th, this was a challenging day, very draining. So we had an activity that was planned, got canceled. So we stayed up, pivoting, trying to do something else or find something else to do. So we booked an excursion that was supposed to be a tour for the day. That also didn't happen, but we did end up spending some money out of pocket because we took an Uber from our hotel over to the mall where we were supposed to be meeting them to do that tour that day, so that was $8.25. So after about 2 hours of waiting, got online and found that there was a hop-on, hop-off bus that we could get on. We took an Uber from the mall where we were to another mall. So the cost of the Uber from the Center City Mall to the Dubai Mall was $15.22. So our hop-on, hop-off bus tickets were $88 for the both of us. Next, after we got back from our excursion that day, the hop-on, hop-off bus, we decided to have some lunch. So we went to the infamous Shake Shack. We indulged a little bit, so we spent $33.76.
It's a Shake Shack itself. It's not an indulgence by definition.
Yeah. And then on the way out, I decided to get a smoothie, and it was $9.53. So Akiva got Starbucks, and her Starbucks was $3.38. So after waiting and waiting, and that shuttle for the hotel never coming, we decided that we had to take an Uber at that point. And the cost for that was $10.19. Then for dinner, Akiva, this whole trip, Akiva was just like, I want to go to this spot to eat, that spot to eat.
I mean, we here. We gotta
so,
live.
So we went to this restaurant called Amasina, and I think that it was a buffet style type of restaurant. It was very nice. Service there was, out of this world.
The best service I think I've probably ever had in my life, to be honest.
But Amasina was pricey. The cost was $153.84. Well, we got to Amasina somehow as well, so I skipped over that. We took an Uber to Amasina, and that was $25.59. So after our lovely dinner, we then took another Uber back to the hotel. And the cost for the Uber from the Amasina restaurant back to the hotel was $28.39. So our total for the day was $910.15. And the reason why it's so large is because I didn't tell you about experience that Key was going to tell you about on the 10th. We actually spent it on that day, so that's why it's in that day's column. So hopefully that makes sense.
So that lovely huge number thing that we spent on the 8th but did not do until the 9th was another wonderful excursion, a hot air balloon ride. And guys, this was another very memorable and beautiful part of our trip. So that hot air balloon ride was not cheap. It was, I think, the most expensive thing we did on this entire trip. It was $534 for the two of us, but it was also worth every penny in our opinion. It was a beautiful experience. Highly recommend. So we woke up, can't even say the crack of dawn, it was before dawn. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning that we woke up. But it included everything in terms of like picking up from our hotel. So we got up, they picked us up, took us out to the middle of the desert, watched the sunrise, froze a little bit, then got into our nice warm hot air balloon and had a beautiful experience. Then once we landed, they also took us for breakfast, which was included, and then at that spot, they also had a few other activities. We were able to ride yet another camel. There was some falconry going on. Mishak scared me with the falcon, guys. We won't talk about that. And some other things that we could also pay for in addition, which of course we didn't pay for, but it was a beautiful experience, and then they drove us back. So this was the day we decided to go and get our COVID test done. So we had them actually drop us off at the hospital instead of back to our hotel. So that was great to be able to cut out a little bit of the cost there. And the COVID test, because of course we're not residents, we paid $136.14 for our COVID tests. Then we took an Uber back to our hotel. That was $7.43. Then when we got back to our hotel, this is like, late afternoon at this point, we decided to get some dinner, and so we ended up spending $35.15 getting room service that day. So total spend for that day, not including the fact that we had paid for the hot air balloon the day before, because that's what initially was supposed to happen, was $178.72.
So on to December 10th. This day was probably one of our chill, laid-back days on this trip, well, at least while in Dubai. So that day, we decided to go to breakfast at the hotel, and breakfast was $24.52. Then after we went to breakfast, we decided that we wanted to go to another pretty popular mall, which is the Mall of the Emirates. So the Uber to the Mall of the Emirates cost us $19.58. When we got to the Mall of the Emirates, we pretty much just, walked around, saw what the mall had to offer. So we decided to go back to the hotel. So the cost for the Uber from the Mall of the Emirates back to our hotel was $21.36. So we decided that we were just going to go to dinner. And we went to dinner at Dubai's only revolving restaurant, which is called the Al Duwar. And the food there was also buffet style. It was good. Really good. So we took an Uber from our hotel to the restaurant, and that was $13.28. We got to the Al Duwar restaurant, and we paid another expensive restaurant that Akiva took us to, and that was $145.40 for the both of us. After we stuffed our stomachs, we got in an Uber and headed back to our hotel, and the cost of the Uber was $13.54. That brings our total cost to that day to $237.68.
So December 11th, this was also a day that did not go as planned. Seems to be the theme of the entire trip, but I digress. So we ended up going to one of Dubai's, I guess, most popular amusement parks, at least that we knew of, which is Motion Gate. So we took an Uber. It's a bit far out, so that Uber was a little pricey. We took an Uber. It was $45.11. The tickets for Motion Gate were $120 even for the both of us, and we had a great day riding the rides. It's a pretty cool spot. It's cool for, you know, the amusement park. While we were there, we did end up buying lunch. It was $29.96, which honestly isn't bad when you compare it to like American lunch at an amusement park prices. So we thought that was pretty cool, and the food tasted pretty good as well. It was really good. So we enjoyed our day there, and then we took an Uber back to our hotel, and that was $45.87. So total spend on December 11th was $240.94.
So December 12th, our final day-ish in Dubai. So we got up and we again went to breakfast at our hotel. So same old there, $24.52. Then we decided to take a free shuttle from our hotel to the beach.
Lemire Beach, specifically.
Yes. So we went to the beach, we lounged around for a little while, walked along the boardwalk, and then we decided that we wanted to have some lunch. So we went to the Sugar Factory. And to our surprise, the Sugar Factory in Dubai is cheaper than the Sugar Factory in America. Although it seems like the inverse, that everything there was more expensive than here. So we went to the Sugar Factory, and we shared a meal. I think we shared everything that day. We got a pizza as well as one of those huge goblets, and the cost for that was $40.57. And then we decided that we were going to go visit a mosque, a really popular mosque in the area, Jumeirah Mosque. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, due to COVID, when we thought that there was going to be a second opportunity to go in, but it was canceled due to COVID. So after we got there, after we walked from the beach, the Sugar Factory, over to Jumeirah Mosque, we decided that we were just going to take an Uber back, also because our shuttle times, like, they weren't lining up. So the Uber from the Jumeirah Mosque to the hotel cost $10.24. And then, because we were leaving Dubai that night, we took an Uber from the hotel back to the airport, and the Uber cost was $11.23. So the total spend for that day was $86.56.
December 13th. So it's important to note that that night, again, we were in transit to the Maldives, so there was no hotel. We were flying basically overnight. So we got to the Maldives in the morning of the 13th. So we ate, of course, on the plane. For dinner that night, we also ate at the lounges in the airport, which we didn't have to pay anything for because we have priority pass. So we were able to use those advantages because of, again, credit cards that we have, and we didn't have to pay any money for a lot of food that we ended up getting. It was basically like unlimited food, and we were there for like forever. So we got a lot of food. The Maldives is made up of a series of different islands. So most of the time, you're not staying on the island where the airport is. You have to either take another plane or another boat out to the island you're staying at. So we took a speedboat because our island wasn't too far away from the main island with the airport. So the speedboat transfer round trip, we paid $295.68 for the both of us. We got to our hotel, got our tour, took in the sights and the scenes, unpacked, and just on the main goal in the Maldives was to do nothing. So we were at our hotel all day, so we ended up getting lunch and dinner. For dinner, we went to the Hard Rock Cafe. For lunch, I think we had gotten room service, something like that. So in total for food that day, we spent $113.34. Then we also paid a government tax that they had recently instituted that we didn't know about before when we got to the hotel, and that was $24 for the duration of our stay. So total spend for that day was $433.02.
Then for December 14th, we actually just pretty much did free stuff. So we didn't spend any money outside of the food cost that we actually had to spend. So we had breakfast, and that was complimentary, and it was buffet style. So we were pretty much able to fill up on that and take some things back to the room even if we wanted to. And later on that evening, on the 14th, we decided to also go to dinner, which we obviously had to. We were on a private island, so you gotta pretty much spend whatever it is to eat.
You are locked into those expensive prices because they know you can't go anywhere.
And I can't remember where we went that night to eat dinner. Or honestly, even if we just didn't order something to the room,
We
it's
probably
a blur.
did both.
It's a blur, but we spent $105.95. So for December 14th, our total spend was $105.95.
Then the 15th, our last day in the Maldives. So we again took it pretty chill. The one thing that we did pay for that day was we decided to go to the spa and get a couples massage. So that was cool, Meshach's first massage ever. So we paid $197.12 for that experience, and it was awesome. And then we packed our bags that afternoon and got back on our little boat and went back to the airport to make our way back to the States.
In that transit, going back from the Maldives to the United States, laid us over in Dubai again for about like 8 hours or so. So when we arrived, it was around midnight in Dubai. We were there until 8 in the morning, I believe, was our flight. So we actually went back to that lounge that we were at before because we already knew what the experience was. So we went there. Priority Pass again came in clutch because we were able to eat pretty much throughout the night and not pay anything at all. So we got on our flight and again didn't spend anything because it came with meals included. So no spend there. But on the 16th, instead of taking an Uber or a Lyft from the airport, what we decided to do differently was we took something that is unique to our area called the Logan Express, which is basically just a coach bus that takes people from the airport to different locations. So we took it to the closest stop to our house. We got off there and the cost for the both of us was $24. And then from there, it's still a good little distance where you can't walk it. So we decided to take a Lyft from that location to the house. And the Lyft cost was $11.28. So our total spend for that day was $35.28.
That was our trip. And at this point, we realized that we've been talking for a mighty long time. So we're actually going to end the video right here and pick up with a new video on how we were able to actually pay $0 out of pocket for everything we just told you about.
So thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss when we post new content. And as I've been saying, we have a lot of videos coming up. And honestly, as you can tell, like I'm never this excited in videos. Like I've been waiting to share this with you guys for so long. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye.